the first player I got to throw out there, we haven't talked a lot about him this season, but Patrick Mahomes, because we just know he's great. But in fantasy, he really hasn't been very good. He's QB 22. The Chiefs are undefeated. But the rest of the way, do you want Patrick Mahomes as your starting quarterback on your fantasy team?
Absolutely not. No, it's an easy no.
So it's an easy panic for you.
I saw somebody this week who figured out how to package Patrick Mahomes with a couple other players and go get Josh Allen. I think it was one of those name value trades.
Wow.
And if I could take Mahomes and get like a top 6 guy, I would do that in a heartbeat. And here's the problem, okay? The Chiefs are what, 6-0. The Chiefs are 6-0. Andy Reid is the best coach in the NFL. I still believe that Patrick Mahomes is one of the best real life quarterbacks in the NFL. There's no question that they're making the playoffs at this point, and all that they are thinking about is a Super Bowl. So you've got an elite coach, you've got a really good defense, and a team that is playoff bound and is only thinking about the Super Bowl. So they're going to continue to do what they have been doing. He will have weeks where he pops, and I think that he will play better than he has been playing. But there's no reason to expect that you're going to get these sort of 350-yard, Patrick Mahomes has to sling it around and the offense has to carry the team for them to win games. That's not who the Chiefs are right now. If I was a dynasty guy and I could maybe acquire him, I think that he'll have better seasons ahead. This is not who he's going to be for the rest of his career, but this is what they're doing to win games this season, and they don't need to do anything differently because they're 6-0.
They're just not in the shootouts because their defense is so good. So that's the thing for me is I want offenses from a fantasy standpoint that are going to be in shootouts that have to score a lot of points to win games. And it's crazy to think that the Chiefs aren't really in that situation. So I'm with you on that. All right. I don't know how you transition. This is like the opposite. The New York Giants. All right. So we got a few weeks there where all of a sudden Giants players started being fantasy relevant. Now Malik Neighbors kind of burst onto the scene and he goes out. And then Darius Slayton fills in for him. He had a couple big weeks. And then Devin Singletary had a few moments early in the season, I guess. And then he got injured. And then this running back, Tyrone Tracy, came out. Had 2 monster weeks. I am on the Tyrone Tracy bandwagon. And I'm begging you, Giants, please go to him. And so the question is, if you own Devin Singletary, is it peace or panic on him? I've already made it clear where I stand. What about for you?
Panic. It's panic, and it's panic about the whole Giants offense, maybe with the exception of Malik Neighbors. Just Daniel Jones, they've played a few pretty bad defenses over the last 4 weeks.
It was fool's gold.
Yeah, it was a little bit of fool's gold. He's hyper targeting Malik Neighbors, but I think that at some point, now they get to play the Panthers in week 10 right before their bye. So if Daniel Jones can hold on to till then, that buys him a few more weeks. I think at some point Daniel Jones is getting benched and probably Drew Lock is coming into the game. And I just don't think that there's any reason to expect the Giants offense to be good this season. So again, there'll be these pop weeks where one of the running backs is relevant. I still think you can probably start Neighbors, but no, I'm out on Devin Singletary. And really, I'm not super optimistic about Tyrone Tracy either rest of the season. So
I'm going to stay on the Tracy bandwagon. All right. I'll stay on that one. I might put him in my lineup.
He looks like a good player, and they're going to have to use their good players. Unfortunately, Daniel Jones is not one of their good players, and so that's
a couple of weeks ago, we were like, wait, can you pick up Daniel Jones as your quarterback?
The whole offense kind of stalls. Wild. Yeah. When he stalls, and he stalls often.
All right. Another team, another NFL team that has been a roller coaster ride on what to expect from a fantasy perspective, the New Orleans Saints. Now, I've been very clear. I have been out on the Saints. All right. So I can't say it enough. But Alvin Kamara last year was during the final part of the season, he was number 3. So he was the 3rd best running back kind of down the stretch last season. And so far this season, he's been number 5 through the first 7 weeks as far as fantasy average goes. However, the last couple of weeks, he's been held to, I think, under 65 yards. The Saints have, stalled out without Derek Carr. And so that's sort of the information. Like, okay, Kamara was great last year. He's been good at the beginning of the year. Do I trust him the rest of the way? Peace or panic, Alvin Kamara?
I think peace. And actually, I think there's a little bit of a buy low window for Kamara, Olave, those 2 guys in particular. because I think what we're seeing this season, those first 2 weeks notwithstanding, is that when the Saints' top players are healthy, they are a functional offense. Okay. They're not an elite offense like they looked like maybe for a week and a half at the beginning of the season, but they're a functional offense. And so Derek Carr, I think they've said he's going to miss one more week and then he should be back in week 9. I think Olave comes back this week. And when those guys are in, things open up a little bit for Kamara. So when I say buy low, I'm not saying buy low on what their perceived value was at the beginning of the season. But if you can buy Kamara or Olave low for what they have been the last couple of weeks, I think that I would do that, because when Carr comes back, assuming that they can stay healthy, the offense is it's not elite like we thought that it was, but it is still, it's functional. And so I think you can expect Olave to be a low end wide receiver 2 and Kamara to probably be a high end running back 2 when Derek Carr is playing quarterback. And that's what I try to kind of trade those guys for.
All right.
You disagree. I can tell from your face, but I think that's true.
I'm going to let you just stick to your take, but you use the word
I'm going to go out and try to do it after.
I'm not a part of the we. There's no we.
Sorry, I believe that those things that I just said. I'm going to go try to acquire them to hold myself accountable to that take, because I think there's a little bit of a buy low window.
Okay. It's a fair take. I understand your thought process there, but Dennis Allen is still their coach, and they're still the New Orleans Aints. After that Thursday night game against Denver, that was embarrassing.
There is the Dennis Allen problem.
To me, that was the end of the Saints. That was the end of the Aints. You saw that the bags were back on the head.
Denver might be the best defense in the NFL, man.
Oh.
Yeah.
Denver's tough. And you know what other team makes it just a horrible game? You know what? Against Cleveland. Like Cincinnati, like they did okay, but it's still just an ugly game against Cleveland. And
Cleveland style, man. Just slow it down. Ugly, muddy. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't expect a lot from your team, your fantasy team, when they go up against the Browns and same with the Broncos as well.